Welcome everyone to a casted game for Age of Empires 4, and it's a very special one today, spawning on the west side of the map. Playing in red, we've got Yun Sung Bin, which is actually MarineLord, and he's playing as the Mongols. And his opponent in the north, playing in teal, we've got puppypaw, playing as the Chinese. Welcome everyone to Frisian marshes. Absolutely love this map, absolutely love this matchup. The reason why is because, well, initial aggression is very important in this map. Pretty exposed, both players obviously very relatively close to each other, and the issue is gold, right? So gold very far forward for both players. You can see two gold veins on the same screen. Same for puppypaw. Now, one thing I love about this matchup is you definitely think of aggression when you think of Mongols. Outpost rush, barracks, uvu, double production spearmen, you name it, they can do it. But what's kind of exciting for the Chinese actually is, you know, it's a civilization that's known for its booming economy, but bear in mind, actually, I think they're one of the best civilizations actually dealing with the outpost rush, primarily because of the production speed of the supervision of the imperial official. Now, of course, you have to pay for those, but you do get supervision of the imperial official. So, you know, you get more food, so you can actually kind of pay for it a little bit better, and food is the primary resource of spearmen. So it's one of the reasons why I love this matchup. Bear in mind as well, with the scout with the extra line of sight, will get more sheep. I mean, it's such a nice way to kind of counteract the Mongols play. Now, plenty of sheep on the map as well. Two spearmen heading across, and puppypaw will scout out the outpost rush coming along. And uvu, or the girl really, getting a bit of scouting too. Spots the two spearmen, so he knows what's going to happen, right? So I'd be interested to see if he does place a barracks. In fact, he's going to go... Whoa, okay, wait. This is actually really greedy. He's going up with the Imperial Academy to get to the feudal age, which will allow him access to archers, to be fair. And so that can be a way to counter it. So there's two ways really to counter the outpost rush that is coming in right now. He's got the gold he needs. And to be fair with the Imperial Official, the amount of damage that can be done with the Mongols outpost rush in the early stages of Dark Age and Feudal Age is relatively limited, even if the outpost does go up, which he's sending the villager across now. Because, of course, the Chinese can actually rely on a bit of gold coming in from the Imperial Official, of which I don't think he actually has one. Does he actually have one? Can't see it there. He doesn't. Okay, interesting. Definitely a different sort of opening here for puppypaw. It's kind of lovely to see the slight changes in the way these guys play. We saw a game recently between Louis MT and Beastie Cutie where I think it was Beastie Cutie. You know, it was Louis MT, I believe, playing the Chinese versus Mongols. And it was a really nice way he countered it by getting an early barracks. Either way, puppypaw going to look to try and counter it by going to the feudal age first, and then work his way from there. The Khan just using the eagle to find out exactly what puppypaw was up to after that. Plenty of villagers and gold, so we'll go to the next stage relatively soon as well. But of course, the investment into two spearmen and the villager forward will obviously delay his feudal age timing a little bit. But of course, these units will come in handy as long as he doesn't lose them to a bunch of archers. There is Imperial Official now, coming up with a village, just to increase that population space and also give him some garrisonal spots. Now, Frisian Marshes, if you're not aware, is it's been around for a while, especially with EGC TV's hosting of tournaments. You've got two sacred sites in the middle of the map, two contestable areas, plenty of gold, plenty of shorefish to rely on as well, if players so decide to rely on that. But it's relatively unlikely to do it earlier in the game. It's going to be the silver tree coming up for the Mongols. No real surprise there. I think the Mongols are actually really strong on this map because of the trade possibility. You've got the neutral trade post right in the corner of the map. Such a great way to trade, and the Chinese will find it difficult to keep up. If there is a civilization that can keep up, it would be the Chinese, of course, being able to boom away. Song Dynasty, multiple town centers, you name it. They've got a good way of catching up. Four spearmen, going to garrison inside the outpost. It'll take some time for the Chinese to clear that out. Bear in mind, without gold, the Chinese will be stuck in the feudal age for a while, so we'll have to address that. And that's something that's actually typical for this map, the two gold veins being that location. You know, you do have two 8,000 gold veins extra on the map, but it's pretty dangerous to head out in there. A couple of 4,000 tile gold veins too, but again, very exposed. Now behind this, I wonder how much trade is going to commit to here, MarineLord. It's kind of one of those things that you kind of want to get away with it if you can, and the Mongols can certainly do that with this presence on the map, the outpost. I mean, the Chinese aren't going to push this too quickly, and even if they do, obviously, the Mongols will be aware of it. He's going to get a couple of archers just to make sure that the outpost rush doesn't continue. One thing you do sometimes see from the Mongols, although we don't see it just at the moment, you get one outpost, which is enough in many cases, but they can sometimes supplement it, just get a bit of an outpost creep. Get another outpost within range of this outpost just to extend that coverage. It can be a pain, but of course the archers will be enough to deal with that. It's going to be the Barbican in the Sun. Give him some measure of protection on that stone, which is probably kind of important because he wants that second town center, really, doesn't he? If he's going to get the Sung Dynasty, something they typically want to do, and you can see plenty of villagers and the Imperial official going out to the stone to do exactly that. Right, well, hope you guys have been having a great day and enjoying the content on the channel on YouTube as well. I'm casting live on Twitch these days as well, so if you want to catch it live, I will leave a link in the video description. Come and say hello, come say hi, but I really appreciate you guys' support, whether it be on Twitch or YouTube. Guys, absolutely phenomenal. Having a great time with Age of Empires 4 at the moment. I've taken a slight break, like maybe a couple of weeks of streaming, and glad to be back at it a bit more. Hopefully I can be a bit more regular. It's always tricky with 2 kids, but we'll make it work. Here comes the first trader. Let's see how much gold is coming in. Well, we need to actually make the journey first, and then we'll be soon to find out. Barbican and Son about to go up, and a barracks too. Now, of course, relatively slow starts for both players after the outpost rush. Not too much more aggression coming in after that. Both players looking to boom it up. This could be turning into a long game, I've got to say, because the Chinese looking to boom on 2 town centers. The Mongols looking to trade. Wonder what's going to be better. I feel like, now of course with the booming economy with villages, you've got more versatility in terms of what resources you want and extra. But the Mongols do get a little trickle of food and wood as well at times if they get enough traders, which I'm sure they will. There is 73 gold. That's one heck of a trade route, and we've got 7 food coming in per trader too. Now bear in mind, actually, one thing to consider is having, both players will have a good economy. The question is how well protected can they make it? The trade is notoriously difficult to protect at times. Now, the Mongols do get cheaper outposts, which certainly helps, but obviously they don't get walls, makes it a bit more tricky. Especially if you're up against high mobility units, and whilst we don't really see any cavalry on the field for the Chinese, it could potentially be something they take into the castle age, but also even if they go for palace guards, they're pretty fast on their feet. So the trade is often a little bit more tricky to protect. You don't have the security of a Barbican of the Sun, you don't have the security of a town centre fire. So it might come down to, well, who can protect the eco a bit better, and, well, the Mongols might struggle with that. Either way, though, they do have that mobility on the map with the cavalry. They focus on the Keshik. Really strong unit from the Mongols. Always keeping a keen eye just to see that the Chinese aren't moving out. And so gold is not something that is really gathering at this point, and it might be looking to make a move out soon once it gets a bit of an economy and a bit of a feudal age army. Question, does it have a blacksmith? It does. It doesn't quite have siege engineering just yet. Opting to go for the Imperial examinations first, increasing the maximum amount of gold that can be carried by Imperial officials. Probably just as well, actually, because that will help him gather gold, for sure. That's one resource that he kind of needs at this point. Or at least needs to think about securing in some shape or form. Now, the kind of crazy thing is that the positioning of the stone is so ideal here for MarineLord. Being able to double produce, and he might be double producing traders as well. And that is actually a huge deal. Being able to do that is incredibly important. It does have a secondary market as well, so producing from that. Decent number of traders so far. 16 in total. The economy units 49 to 46, and that's going to scale pretty quickly. Song Dynasty, I'm not sure it's keeping up in that regard. At least in terms of raw numbers. Plenty of archery rangers. Chikunu just chasing away and is starting to put some pressure. Wants to take care of this outpost, of course. Plenty of spearmen, but we will suffer some losses here, puppypaw. But he feels like now's the time to go on to gold, and of course the Mongols will be aware of this, obviously seeing it, he's fighting against it. He's not going to really engage with 2 Keshiks, but he's aware of the situation, and he will know that actually, whilst he's trading a lot, it might be a good time for him to get some units out. Because pressure's going to be coming in soon, and there are the production builders going down now. And also the blacksmith looking to get some upgrades here, MarineLord, and convert that economy into military. Always keeping a keen eye, so plenty of spearmen, plenty of Chukunu. No real surprises to see the archery range, because, and bear in mind, going up against spearmen and Chukunu, a good counter would just be straight archers. Sometimes you do want that combination of cavalry and archers together, and it could be an option, but spearmen, unless they gap close, they're not that relevant. They're more of a meat shield for the archers or the Chukunu on the backline to do something. Straight up archers, or the heavy focus on archers for the Mongols, could be the answer. It looks like MarineLord is opting for that. But it's got to get pumping. Because 34 military units for the Chinese is heading onto the field, and obviously supervision with the Imperial Official really helps pump them out. And as you can see, Spearmen mostly as a meat shield. Cavalry might just attract some of the fire from the Chukunu. But with Steeled Arrow on the way, by the way, that is really significant for the Chinese. It adds so much damage considering the burst attack that the Chukunu have. Spearmen heading east, Chukunu heading west, but sticking around in the stealth forest just to make sure he's not caught out. And it's actually going out onto the map to gather food. Just delaying that farming transition as much as possible, or at least in the Mongols' case, the sheep, the good old pastures. Still trickling in some units. It looks like actually maybe it could be a heavy fuselage pressure for the Chinese, and it's not something they do particularly badly at all. It's getting iron undermesh as well. Eagle Arrow will be covering that area, so scouting information is relevant and present. Mongols just scattering and getting the outposts up now. Needs good line of vision, needs good protection of that trade, which is really starting to escalate very nicely. But with the 2 town centres, he's catching up, certainly in terms of eco units. Quite handsomely here, puppypaw. 81 gold. A decent amount of food and wood coming in each time. Chukunu about to engage. Couple of archers just heading forward with the Keshik riding in. But I'm sure those spearmen will look to brace and protect those Chukunu. Yeah, they do. And they do exactly that. Keshiks have to back off for now. The Mongols backing away. And it's going to be a bit of a dance between the two players for a while. But I think that maybe favours puppypaw in many ways. Because he can pump out units quite quickly. Has slightly stronger economy. And he will be looking to possibly get some rams. He's floating enough wood either way. Maybe for a farming transition, but probably not. You don't really want to be having a farming transition with the fuselage aggression. Keshik's about to ride it. I'm not so sure there's enough spearmen here for puppypaw. He could be caught out here. He does have iron undermesh on the Keshiks, although the Chukunu gets so much damage out of this. Keshiks, though, lower numbers. They're trying to get as much damage as they possibly can on those Chukunu. Archer's gap closing. He wants to make sure he gets much value, but there's no spearmen here, really. Keshik's absorbing a lot of the arrow fire, and that's a big deal. Allows the archers on the back line to work hard for the Mongols, and the numbers of those Chukunu starting to really thin. Khan getting involved. Couple more Keshiks running in from the back line, which is a big deal, by the way. You can see it's not enough to even two-shot with those Chukunu numbers. Spearman gets taken down preferentially. Archers still there in good numbers, but if the Keshik goes down, Chukunu might actually take a better trade here. It's something that puppypaw will need to be aware of and MarineLord be careful of. He does back away. Both players back away, in fact. Uvu depleted, so he's going to have to relocate that at some point soon. Traders behind this continue to work hard. Ultimately, it's actually a good idea for the Mongols to try and keep this at bay and keep it focused in one area because, of course, the lack of mobility in the army for the Chinese means that the trade is doing absolutely fine and dandy. It will be a totally different course, of course. Course of gameplay if the cavalry were on the field, but of course the Chinese, they do this combination incredibly well. Chukunu spearmen. Going cavalry against the Keshiks is not always advisable. But MarineLord really trying to maximize the map control and get the shorefish. It's actually a really nice way to play this because it's such a great amount of food coming in quickly. It looks like actually the Chinese still doing the same in terms of getting the resources on the map, but mostly relying on berries. Kurultai is going to be coming up soon. The Castle Age tech up for the Mongols there. It's going to be a really nice time. And Keshik's riding in, taking the engagement. Again, doesn't really feel like there's enough spearmen here. Plenty of archers for the Mongols, and this time, the fight for the Mongols might just be better. This could be problematic for puppypaw. MarineLord diving in with the Keshiks, and he's just absorbing so much of the arrow fire. The Chukunu really struggling, trying to micro this out as much as he possibly can. But I think he might be losing everything. This could be game. I mean, if he loses the Keshiks, it might be his way back in. And he backs away. All right, MarineLord is up to the Castle Age. And I'd be very happy with that. Upgrading the archers to veterancy will really help in this fight. And he's doing just that. Also getting the second archer armor upgrade. It's going to be absolutely huge. It feels like puppypaw has to do damage or take up to the next stage, but he's so far away from it. Let's take a look at how much food's coming in. He's getting a decent amount of food, but look at the numbers here. Military numbers looking so good for MarineLord. That trade really working out. In terms of numbers, economy-wise, puppypaw just has more, but it just feels like the fights have been going in the way of MarineLord's Mongols. And again, those Keshiks, just a handful of units getting so much value. He's not necessarily killing things, but he's absorbing so much of the DPS coming in there for puppypaw. He's backing away. Now, does he have the eventually? Not just yet. He's going to come in soon, and puppypaw realizes it. Good time to back away, but the question is for puppypaw is how does he survive? He's got a decent standing army, but it is a feudal-age army. He's walling up heavily, which is probably the right move, and look how many villages he has on food. Now, the good thing for puppypaw with such a strong economy in terms of eco numbers, raw numbers, if he can survive this push for the next 5 minutes, get to the castle age, he might be way back. If he can get that clock tower, if he can get the clock tower nest of bees, these are big ifs and buts. And the push is coming in from MarineLord quite heavily. Bear in mind, if he gets a couple of palace guards sprinkled in, a couple of lancers, could be curtains, it's going to be pushed off of gold. And that's an issue. We talked about the gold exposure points. And this is not looking good for puppypaw. If he can't get gold, he can't get that castle age. If he can't get castle age, he's always going to be fighting up against a better army. MarineLord's veteran archers doing work here. Plenty of Chukunu, but he does have double the numbers though. This could be a sheer numbers game actually. Does have the better tech up units. He's got a couple of lancers again absorbing a lot, but Chukunu, I mean, as a feudal age unit, they're still incredibly good at dealing with castle age units because of their burst attack, but ultimately there comes a tipping point when numbers become relevant, although these veteran archers still not in good health and good numbers to fight this off. And puppypaw, not only is he holding on, he's kind of pushing this back, which is kind of concerning for the Mongols. He needs to take into some highly armored units. There's plenty of stables, so going to be getting those Keshiks. Astronomical clock tower. Puppypaw's held on. He's held on for long enough to make this really work. Couple of nested bees and added in. It makes the archers kind of obsolete, at least a lot less relevant. Speaking of relevant, that landmark choice, definitely the best one. It's such a strong situational landmark at this point. About to engage, taking the fight now. The Kurultai deploys now. This is a sight that you like to see if you're puppypaw, because he's just got so many numbers. Although those Keshiks, those veteran Keshiks, this could be a problem actually. You don't want to see those for the Chinese, of course. He's going to go try and get into the choke points if you can, just to narrow the angle of attack. The Chinese do tech up quickly, and they can get the upgrades quickly if he's supervising it. He just needs 24 seconds. The Keshiks getting good value, going northwards now, possibly going to that wood line. Needs to survive here if he can and get that tech upgrade. And it's coming in. Kurultai just about to move a bit further forward. Redeploys, going to be fighting underneath the Barbican in the sun, which is not necessarily a problem. But this is a big problem. Puppypaw's villagers in the north, completely exposed. A couple of crossbows heading that direction. But he's going to get a lot of kills here. MarineLord going to be decimating so many of these villagers. And the crossbows aren't coming out quick enough. Now he does have the veteran Chukunu. Now he should win this fight actually in the south, but the trouble is he's losing a lot of economy. He's killed 22 villagers so far and counting. The crossbows will eventually take this down, but he's lost a lot. He can boom back up again with Song Dynasty 2 town centers. He might need some of those crossbows on the front line though. There's Keshiks getting good value, and this is a nice push from MarineLord, but without siege, without any rams. He's not taking any infrastructure out, and if puppypaw can survive for a little bit longer, he'll be alright. Does need to clear that up though. Imperial officials coming back out to play. Does get taken down. Came out a little bit too quickly, and bear in mind behind all of this, MarineLord, of course, is picking up those relics. He's got 3 so far, so gold will never really be an issue for him because he's got the trade up and running, and doesn't look like that's going to be denied anytime soon. He might need to back off for now though, because Palace Guards start to really build up in numbers. Now, we talked about trade and being safe. One thing to consider is, we talked about earlier on the cast, mobility is key in this map, especially if you want to deny trade. And Palace Guards kind of gives them a little bit of that mobility. Kurultai does back away in time. Villagers were decimated, killed 33 economy units, and just as well that he's walled up, because in this situation where MarineLord can't brute force his way into the base at the Moor, he's going to look for other angles of attack. And the walls here, definitely going to be coming in handy. Sacred Site coming into play. He's moving out. He's going to try and burn this down now. I mean, palisade walls are great, and they will help, but really keep him out for so long. Puppypaw just looking out to move out in that situation. I'm not sure if he quite has enough, though. This could be dangerous, especially with cavalry looming. If he gets wrapped around, he might lose everything. We can try and deny the sacred site as much as possible. Kurultai is there as well, which will be helping in this fight. Oh, this could be dangerous. Cavalry riding in. A couple of palace guards, but maybe not enough. Does have a couple of crossbowmen. He's not fighting with it just yet. Wants to retreat as much as possible. One Keshik, not too much of a problem. Back behind this, the villager lead started to escalate a little bit more again for puppypaw. Has broken in, so this is an issue. Does have a couple of crossbows there, and palace guards trying to block away the entrance. But these guys are pretty tanky, these veteran Keshiks. Doesn't seem to be that enough of crossbow mass. He needs to get over here quickly if he can, puppypaw, because there's another batch of units coming in from the Mongols. There's one question to be had whether he looks to counterattack. He's going to need to hightail out of there with the villagers, that's for sure, at least. Keshiks, they are making their way in, and he's cleared up that army. This is actually looking a bit kind of scary. Puppypaw looking to go for a bit of a counter raid with the palace guards, looking to try and attack that trade as much as possible. Another relic being snagged there by the Mongols. MarineLord getting control of the map with two sacred sites. Well, one sacred site, really. Which is about to be decapped, but he might be catching that again very soon as he pushes this mass of units away. And this is a big concern. Like, how does he stop this? I don't think he has all that much at home here. Got production, so reinforcements coming out will help deal with this, but the crossbow numbers, when they're limited, Keshiks will trade well. In fact, they'll trade really well, and there's a lot of villagers exposed. He's lost 43 so far. I mean, sure, he can boom away again, but there comes a point where these Keshiks killing so many, and he's going to get another massive raid on that wood line. It's going to be absolutely huge, and this is an issue. Like, puppypaw can't head back with that army. It's so static, and this is where the Keshiks really come to their own, and Khan getting involved as well. Palace guards are there trying to block as much as possible. Lost 51 economy units so far. Khan does go down. Coming forward with a couple of Nesta Bees, but this could be a massive wrap around the Keshiks. If they get on top of those Nesta Bees, it could be a huge loss for puppypaw, but he recognizes that threat. Looks to surround them with the infantry. Pushes away that Keshik mass for now, at least. Oh, the Keshiks in the north, they're still there. The crossbow is still working hard to get rid of them, but lost 58 villagers so far, and sure, they will go down, but they'll take some more villagers with them. Keshiks diving in, and this is a good dive. Nesta Bees firing on the archers and the crossbows, but again, well, actually, to be fair, Keshiks have gone down now. But this mass is starting to dwindle. Look at the number of archers. Going to engage. Keshik will get one hit on the Nesta Bees, and this is great. He's going to get right on top of them. Nesta Bees do have a minimum attack range, so he's kind of irrelevant now, these Nesta Bees. Focusing on the crossbows to push them back, and the Nesta Bees get taken down by archers, which is not really what you want to see. And there we go, puppypaw. He recognizes that's not a good sign for the game, and he taps out. MarineLord takes the game on Frisian Marshes. Hope you guys enjoyed this game, and if you're watching on YouTube, then make sure you subscribe, because we've got plenty more guys' content on the way.